From MTN News, this is Montana This Morning.
New evacuation orders in Sheridan County, Wyoming as the elk fire grows overnight. Now over 32,000 acres, plus hundreds gather in Columbus in search of new opportunities after the Siboney Stillwater mine lays off 700 people. Plus, the city of Billings is cracking down on urban camping near downtown after receiving complaints from businesses almost exactly a year ago from today. Good morning and welcome to Montana This Morning on this Wednesday, October 2nd. I'm Augusta McDonnell here with Miller Robson.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everybody. We've got some brand new evacuation orders from the Sheridan County Emergency Management published just a few minutes ago. Evacuation orders now issued for Pass Creek Road and Twin Creek Road west of Parkman and all of Tongue River Canyon west of Dayton. So those are new as of just now. If you're in that affected area, emergency management officials are contacting people directly, but definitely keep an eye out on your emergency alerts if you're in Sheridan County.
Yeah, it's bad down there. Say a little prayer for those folks. It's
Yep.
yeah, and of course the air quality is horrible down around Sheridan County as well. So if you're still around that area and you're able to stay at home, stay indoors, because the smoke is just going to make the air quality poor, especially for those who do have respiratory ailments. Great shot of the mothership there in the background as we wake up. A pretty quiet start this morning here in Billings. Coming off yesterday, a warmer than average day. It wasn't too bad. It actually felt pretty good. It got up to about 75, so almost 10 degrees above the norm. A little bit cooler than average. Got down to about 38. It was quite windy yesterday. We'll still see some winds here in Billings, generally looking at gusts 20-25 miles an hour, but other areas like over in Livingston, gust up to 60 possible this morning. Over on the eastern side of the state, we could have gusts over 30 miles an hour. Very dry there. That's why there's a red flag warning in effect. It's a dry start to the month, and for the year, we continue to dig the hole, and unfortunately, there is no rain in the forecast over the next 7 days. 61 right now at the airport. Winds out the southwest at about 10 miles an hour. Warmer start this morning than yesterday with 40s, 50s, and 60s. We'll have a complete look at your forecast coming up.
All right, Miller, thank you so much for keeping an eye on that. And let's go back to the elk fire burning in Wyoming's Bighorn National Forest. Again, consumed at least over 32,000 acres as of our latest information last night, prompting a fresh wave of evacuations. Just before midnight, evacuations being ordered for all residences on Pass Creek Road between East Pass Creek and Twin Creek Road. This order still includes X-Bar X Ranch residences north to the Montana state line. And again, just now this morning, Tongue River Canyon west of Dayton, where the pavement turns to dirt, is also being described as an area where Sheridan County Emergency Management want folks to evacuate. No other orders issued at this time. Firefighters are making a little better progress. That fire still sits at 0% contained and has continued to burn overnight. Again, on the Bighorn National Forest. Highway 14 does remain closed from Dayton to Burgess Junction, along with several local access roads. Tongue River High School was closed yesterday as concerns remained high. A National Forest Incident Command team is now taking control of that blaze. Hundreds of folks in and around Dayton, Wyoming have lived in fear of this blaze over the last few days, waiting for those flames to die off. Our David J. joins us with the latest from Sheridan County.
Here in Dayton, the smoke is blocking the sun. The fire is about 2 miles in that direction. You can hear some of the helicopters, and there is some ash falling to the ground. Over at the football field, the team is practicing. School was not in session, but there were virtual classes. We did have a chance to talk with some of the people in Dayton, and at this time, they say they're not too worried.
That's out my back door, looking over. That was scary, but then we kept watching, so.
Dayton residents say Tuesday was much better than the day before with the Elks fire.
I just started making a list in my head about what I would take if we had to leave, which would just be basic, simple things.
The weather conditions had citizens throughout the town ready for evacuations.
Put sprinklers on the roof, watered the yard, just preparing. My husband hooked up the camper in case we did have to evacuate. I went in the house and got birth certificates and titles and anything valuable for paperwork.
And that preparation was also there at the Foothills campgrounds for the out-of-town visitors.
We are on ready. Just get everything ready to go just in case. Oh, everybody understands as they're coming in. Just, you got to be diligent and ready to go. If we need to knock on your door, it's time to go.
We have a lot of air resources on it that they're doing the structure protection as well as supporting our ground crews that are out there. We have helicopters and aircraft, and we've dumped some retardant, and that's held around structures also.
One firefighter was injured because of the treacherous terrain.
The fuels there's some heavy and dead and down fuels, so they were pretty thick in some areas. It's along the face of the fire, and so it's very steep and rugged country.
And now those living in Dayton can rest a little easier, but remain on alert.
We got to worry about the wind.
Our firefighters have been putting in considerable effort to protect our very important values of private land, the homes in our community, and forest resources as well.
In Dayton, David J., MTN News.
David, thank you so much. In Billings, the man deemed a serial squatter by a local developer is back in jail, this time on new federal charges related to child pornography. Last May, we told you about a 2-year conflict between Jarvis Carter and a property owner in the Bird District, who says Jarvis filled his units with stolen goods and refused to pay rent. However, FBI agents took Carter into custody on charges of production of child pornography charges and coercion stemming from 2019. A federal indictment says Carter coerced a minor to engage in sexually explicit conduct that was later shared. Records show Carter was in and out of jail prior to this latest federal arrest and named in a civil case with Billings developer Alan Rice. Rice believes Carter was operating a fencing scam at his rental property and refused to vacate the space for 2 years. Carter was arraigned this week in federal court where documents in the case were unsealed. For the first and likely last time for this campaign, the vice presidential candidates went head-to-head in a roughly 90-minute debate hosted by CBS News last night. GOP Ohio Senator J.D. Vance and Democratic Minnesota Governor Tim Walz took on a number of big campaign issues, with Election Day now just 34 days away. CBS's Jared Hill has more on some of the night's biggest moments and new reaction from New York.
A handshake set the tone for a mostly civil debate. Vice presidential candidates J.D. Vance and Tim Walz, in their first meeting, sparred over top issues like Iran.
Iran is closer to a nuclear weapon than they were before because of Donald Trump's fickle leadership.
When was the last time that an American president didn't have a major conflict break out? The only answer is during the 4 years that Donald Trump was president.
The economy.
Teachers, nurses, truck drivers, or whatever. How is it fair that you're paying your taxes every year and Donald Trump hasn't paid any federal tax in the last 15 years?
Donald Trump delivered for the American people. Rising wages, rising take-home pay, an economy that worked for normal Americans.
And gun violence.
We unfortunately have a mental health crisis in this country.
Sometimes it just is the guns. It's just the guns.
At times, the discussion more tense, like this exchange over the 2020 election.
Did he lose the 2020 election?
Tim, I'm focused on the future. Did Kamala Harris censor Americans from speaking their mind in the wake of the 2020 COVID situation?
That is a damning non-answer.
While talking immigration, Walz challenged Vance over his past comments about Haitian migrants living in Ohio.
That vilified a large number of people who were here legally.
The people that I'm most worried about in Springfield, Ohio, are the American citizens who have had their lives destroyed by Kamala Harris's open border.
In a new CBS News poll, debate watchers said the tone was generally positive. 42% thought that Vance won, while 41% thought Walz won. The rest said it was a tie. Though more said they think Walz is more prepared to be president. Walz also ranked higher on abortion and health care, while Vance got the edge on the economy and immigration. Jared Hill, CBS News, New York.
Both vice presidential nominees are back on the campaign trail today in crucial swing states. Senator J.D. Vance will be in Michigan while Governor Tim Walz travels to Pennsylvania. Back here in Montana, the Confederated Salish and Kootenai tribes up in the northwest part of the state are standing in solidarity with the Crow tribe after racially insensitive remarks from Republican Senate candidate Tim Sheehy. This comes after audio recordings from Sheehy surfaced where he talks about drunk Crow tribal members and being hit with beer cans during the Crow Fair. The Flathead tribes say Sheehy's comments are disrespectful and send a dangerous message about Indigenous people.
People tend to think that they know what's best for tribal people, and they really don't. And they, in the position they're in, the spot that they're at, they're thinking that they don't need to be educated more about who we are, when in fact they do need to be educated more. And these kind of remarks really show an immaturity about dealing with our tribal people. And so we definitely stand with our our tribal brothers and sisters against language like this.
Despite many calls and protests, Sheehy is yet to apologize, but he did offer a response to these comments during Monday night's Senate debate, where U.S. Senator John Tester, incumbent in this race, pushed Sheehy to apologize for those insensitive comments about tribal members.
The reality is, insensitive. I come from the military, as many of our tribal members do. We make insensitive jokes and probably off color sometimes. And I'm an adult. I'll take accountability for that. But let's not distract from the issues that our tribal communities are suffering.
And you can say, look, I'll take responsibility. But apologies matter. And how you treat people matter. And if you treat them with disrespect, other people will disrespect them. So like I said to begin with, you're a big guy. Just apologize.
You apologize for opening the border?
I didn't open the border.
That debate, which originally aired on Montana PBS, will re-air on your local MTN station right here on Q2 this Saturday. And here in Billings, the uncertain future of Stillwater mine workers as the mine announces a plan to lay off 700 workers by November. Our Haley Monaco has more this morning as hundreds gathered in Columbus yesterday looking to stay on their feet.
Employers with open positions were here at the Civic Center for Siboney Stillwater employees as the anticipated layoffs quickly approach.
Nothing's really been stable lately.
The harsh reality many are facing.
This one, it's hitting a lot of people.
700 Siboney Stillwater workers will be laid off next month, and Jacob Campinen knows he very well could be one of them. Which is why he and many others attended this reverse career fair Tuesday, with over 60 potential employers on site and almost 100 total when adding in remote opportunities.
I am originally from Montana, and I'm hoping to stay here. I got a wife, 2 boys, and it's the main reason I'm kind of trying to stay local, because they're already in the community and I don't want to uproot them.
Staying put may not be an option for many, which would put even more of a dent in the economy of Stillwater County than there's already been.
Obviously the mine. About 4 years ago, 3 to 4 budget years ago, that number sat at about $12.5 million. Last year, that number dropped all the way down to about $3 million.
That's County Commissioner Tyrell Hamilton.
So significant amount of revenue loss.
So they took proactive measures, anticipating what is now the reality.
We went ahead and reduced our overall budget by about $2.5 million. I guess the simplest way to put it is the county has about a mill value bank of 132. We've dropped that all the way down to 106 this year. So we're going to be asking for significantly less mills from the property owners,
with hopes of still being a thriving community.
Little communities like we have here in Stillwater County are great places to come and raise a family.
This 2-day event trying to alleviate some of the stress.
I just hope everything works out in the end and nobody gets affected negatively too bad.
In Columbus, Haley Monaco, MTN News.
Haley, thanks so much. The city of Billings is cracking down on urban camping near downtown after receiving complaints from businesses exactly a year ago from today. The area affected is South 30th Street, which is where St. Vincent de Paul is located and just a block away from the Montana Rescue Mission. In the past, it's been a hotbed for folks who are unhoused, recently developing into more tents and urban camping. That problem continued to grow until even St. Vincent de Paul reached their tipping point, shutting down operations until the sidewalks were cleared. Soon after, Billings police and code enforcement arrived to finish clearing the way. But not everybody is thrilled with the decision to remove folks from that area, knowing it will just mean moving them to a different part of the city.
The city didn't have a choice. They had to do what they had to do. But the sad part of that reality is that those folks, they really don't have any place else to go because this is kind of their last option. It dispersed that population then to parks, to alleys, to backyards.
St. Vincent de Paul has since reopened with unhoused folks returning for meals this week, but so far those sidewalks do remain clear. Montana's oldest and wisest celebrated a pretty important milestone in Billings this week. For 55 years, every October, centenarians from the 4 corners of Montana gather to celebrate turning 100. It's an event everybody looks forward to where these remarkable Montanans are honored for their longevity. There are currently over 30 in the state that we know of. 8 were able to make it in person yesterday. Some say they plan on attending many more of these celebrations in the future.
10 more years will kind of slow me down.
I'm feeling good and I'm enjoying the day being with my family and friends.
Just like Kenny Chesney says, 100 years goes faster than you think. And we are really looking forward to our Pink Breakfast celebration this Friday right here in our Q2 studios from 6 a.m. to 7 a.m. You can join us for a free breakfast to honor survivors of breast cancer, women and caregivers, men who are both surviving the disease, taking care of those who are currently seeking treatment, and supporting those families. All of the proceeds from our phone bank and any funds raised for this event go to a great local organization, Pack the Place in Pink. Again, that Survivors Pink Breakfast is this Friday, October 4th from 6 to 7 a.m. in your Q2 studios. You can RSVP at ktvq.com/pink.